Okay, we can go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming to the January meeting of the Glendale Neighborhood Council. Tonight is our annual meeting, so we'll be conducting an election. Basically, the way that we've structured the agenda tonight is we're going to talk about the process for the election, share out information so that anybody who wants to can participate in the election. And then toward the end of the meeting or later on in the meeting is when we'll actually do the voting and have candidates introduce themselves, give a little bit of background, and talk about why they want to join the council. To get started, I'm going to give just a little bit of background. We've covered this for several months in a row, but at last month's meeting, we approved some bylaws changes that will take effect, that took effect January 1st. So there are a couple of changes to the positions that we would normally be electing. Tonight, we are electing a chair. The chair's position serves for a 3-year term. We're also electing a vice chair and a webmaster, and then 7 at-large board positions. And our at-large board members support our committees and serve a 1-year term. Officers like vice chair and webmaster, secretary and treasurer serve a 2-year term, and then the chair serves a 3-year term that alternates with the different officers that are elected in a given year. So with that, I want to give one more update. Then we're going to do some community updates. The process for the election tonight, we have put together 2 different forms. And so as we get closer to the election tonight, as I mentioned, we have a nomination form. So this form, the board has been talking with several folks and encouraging people to run for the board. We have filled that out for some of our nominees, but if you're interested in running for a board position or an officer position, you can fill out that nomination form. You can self-nominate, and then we'll get over to the election business at around 7:30 tonight. That's when we're going to do the voting. But if you're interested in a board position, there's lots of information at that link. You can fill out a nomination, and then, as I mentioned, we'll get over to the voting at 7:30. With that, I'm going to move on to community updates really quickly. We then have an agenda item, some updates from our elected officials, and then we'll move back into business. But does anyone have community updates, events, things that are happening, things that you'd like to share? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start. The first thing that I'm going to share, Salt Lake City is currently looking for members of the Redistricting Advisory Committee. So the Redistricting Advisory Committee is going to help redraw the city council boundaries this year. There are 7 city council seats in Salt Lake City, and this advisory committee will help.
There's a whole fire station in here.
Whoa.
Fire station.
Help make the new boundaries and those types of things for the city council. So they'll consider population data that was just released from the 2020 census and help make a decision on the new 7 districts. So for those that are watching on Facebook, I just shared the link to the nomination form. If you're interested in running for an officer or board position, you can self-nominate there. And then the second link that we've shared is for redistricting. So if you have, if you're interested in serving on the Redistricting Commission, you can apply at that link. And just to let everyone know so that everyone's aware, this is being recorded and live streamed on Zoom. We just do that for transparency, and then we post the recordings later. Let's see. I'm going to move on. Ken, do you want to give an update from Sorensen Center? And then if anyone else is on the call that has community updates, please feel free to give those after Ken.
Thanks, Turner. Hi, everybody. I'm Ken from the Sorensen Community Campus. The biggest announcement this week is that we are closed for the week. We've closed all programs except for the Salt Lake Donated Dental Services Clinic. We're planning on reopening on Monday. We've kind of gone back a little bit to having areas of the campus separated, but we're planning on resuming recreation programming through or with reservations only. I'm not quite sure how the mask mandate thing is going to impact us vis-a-vis the legislation,
You can't.
the legislative body. But the plan is to, I think, continue having masks required in both buildings, the Unity Center and the Multicultural Center. And folks do need to have reservations to take part in our programs. Sorry, kind of a bummer of an announcement, but we are still planning on going back to programming next week, just closed for this week. And as always, please, any questions or comments or inputs, I'm totally open to those, please.
I had a question. Is it gonna still do the VITA tax preparation, like drop-offs there? Is that still?
That's a great question. VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, is a very popular one that we've done for years. We're still trying to coordinate with the VITA program to determine what it's going to look like on the Sorensen campus this year, when it's going to start and all that sort of stuff. I was hoping I'd have an announcement about that tonight, but I don't have one yet. We'll certainly put all that stuff on the website and on the LED sign and up around the campus when we know more what that's going to look like. It's probable that it will look more like it did last year with drop-offs, and then having few people in the building at the same time, but still being able to provide the service. Thank you for the question.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Ken? Any other community updates? We'll get to elected officials and public safety after this portion.
Turner, I'll also just mention that I noticed there is some mail for the community council in the mailbox, just a heads up.
Thank you. We'll be able to get it. All right, I'm going to move on to our first agenda item, after which we'll do our elected official updates and public safety. We have Ryan Billeteri here from TAG, and they're working on a development project here in Glendale, and they're going to talk about their proposal and kind of what they're thinking and what they're working on. We'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Jake.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate the time. I'm with TAG SLC, and we're a developer, and we are currently under contract on some land on 900 West and roughly 1600 South. I've submitted the paperwork to rezone the parcels from, I believe they're currently a community business or some sort of low density commercial zone. And ideally, we would like to use the parcels to build some apartments or townhomes. We're still really early and trying to figure out how to best utilize the site. The development would probably happen in 2 phases. The first phase would involve about 2.5 acres directly across from the Utah Alcohol Distribution Center. I forget, UBAC or something. So it would be directly across the street from that and kind of next to the 7-Eleven. And then there would be a second phase that would be further north. Like I said, we're still really early trying to figure out, if the community would like to see some kind of like missing middle townhome development in this area, or maybe some higher density development. So I'm open for questions, comments, feedback, whatever.
How many acres is the parcel?
The area.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Go ahead, Turner.
I was just saying, I'm going to share a Google Maps so you can see the area that we're talking about. The 7-Eleven on 9th South or 9th West and 17th South is here. This is the area that we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, how many acres is that approximately?
So the first phase of the project would be 2.59 acres. And then the total project, which would include the first two houses to the north, so to that 1574 south, 900 west, that entire parcel would be 3.52 acres, I believe.
And how many like dwelling units are you kind of looking at per acre there?
So, if we went under, kind of the more moderate density approach and did more missing middle style townhome development, we'd be talking, 30 to 35 dwelling units per acre. If we went with the apartment model, it would be considerably more dense, probably, 75 to 80-ish dwelling units per acre.
Okay, and what's the approximate timeline?
Well, the timeline on the rezone is probably, to get that in front of city council, it's probably going to be 4 to 6 months. And then we would move forward with permitting and design, and that would probably take, at least a year.
Okay, cool. Are there like any early concepts or like renderings that you could eventually share with this group just to kind of get an idea of what the product type would look like?
Yeah, actually, I think that my associate Jordan is on the call, and he has some preliminary site plans pulled up.
Cool.
And Jordan, you shouldn't have any issues sharing your screen.
So if we went with a more like missing middle type townhome development, this would be the first phase of the development. And then those blotted out parcels would be the second phase of the development. What's kind of working against us is this is a somewhat oddly shaped parcel. These are some oddly shaped parcels when they're all combined.
What are you looking at as far as affordability? And are these going to be high end? Are they going to be affordable housing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. We're still kind of early on and trying to figure out where things are going to be priced. I would be happy to come back and present, kind of once we know more. I think that the density will probably be one of the major drivers of the pricing. If we can get more density, it'll be more affordable.
Do you have plans to make it mixed use at this point? Or if you went the kind of missing middle route, would it be just solely residential?
So missing middle would be solely residential. If we went higher density with some apartments, that would probably have roughly 5,000 square feet of mixed use retail.
Thank you. And I'm just going to share a link for those that are watching along. We keep using the term missing middle, and I think it's important to define that. So I'm sharing a report from the Utah Foundation in the chat that kind of helps contextualize this. So we're not using terminology that's unfamiliar.
Absolutely.
If we are in favor of the development, how can we support and help push it through with the city?
I mean, we're kind of debating as to what to do on the site. Like I said, it lays out really funky because it's oddly shaped parcels. We're currently in for a rezone. If we went with the more missing middle product type, it would actually make more sense to keep the current zoning and do a planned development. But either way, if you drop me your contact information in the chat, I'd be more than happy to reach out and let you know the petition numbers relating to the project so that you could support it.
Sounds good.
Thank you. We can take probably 2 more questions for Jake if there are more. Doesn't look like it. Jake, I just want to say thank you for your time tonight. Jake reached out to me very early on in this process, which is what we like to see from a neighborhood perspective. So thanks for coming, and we look forward to talking to you. This is not the end of the conversation. This is just the beginning. So as things move forward, as the development changes, we'll invite Jake and his team back more to talk about the project.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. Thanks so much for the time.
Yep. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks.
All right. I'm going to move on to our public safety updates. We'll start with the fire department tonight.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. My name is Mark Lepper. I'm here at Station 14. Just wanted to give you a couple things that we've been that have changed recently. We've gone back to kind of our COVID routine, just with uptick in numbers. So we've suspended all of our business inspections, all of our station tours, school, all our school teaching opportunities that we have, unfortunately. But we do have educational things up on our website at saltlakecity.com that you can, saltlakecityfire.com, that you can look at and go through if you want to go through anything with your kids. So some of the things that we've changed. So about 80% of the fire department's been vaccinated. We are wearing cloth masks everywhere we go out in public. We are implementing testing at the station for anybody that has symptoms. So we're trying to get ahead of not only protecting our firefighters, but protecting the community as well, with not trying to spread COVID. There's some things that you might be asked by dispatch if you call in for an emergency. If someone's experiencing COVID-like symptoms, if it's possible, we might ask that the patient be brought outside so we're not in an indoor setting, and ask to give us space from family members if that is feasible. If it's not, we're still going to come in and do our job inside if it's not feasible to move them outside. Last year, just to kind of give you an update, in 2021 at Station 14, we ran just under 1,700 emergency calls. And as the Salt Lake City Fire Department, last year we ran 32,000 emergency calls, which is about a 15% increase from the year before. So things are getting busier each year with what we have. And one more thing is we are doing our hiring process this spring. If you know anybody that's interested in becoming a firefighter, has any interest in it, just direct them to the website. Again, it's saltlakecityfire.com, and there's links they can follow on how to prepare for that and how to get signed up. And that's all I have for you right now. One more thing is wintertime. Make sure that you're checking your CO detectors. That's a big thing right now. Is we go on a lot of CO calls with furnaces running, water heaters running. I just want to make sure that that is something that you're not going to smell, you're not going to see. It can just be, you know, especially at night, it can hit you real quick, and it can be a problem if you don't have a CO detector in your home. So make sure you check those are not expired and they have new batteries in them. And I'll open it up right now. If anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If not, I can get back to you.
Doesn't look like it. Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks.
We appreciate it. Thank you. With that, we'll move over to Detective Oliver.
All right. I think I was not muted for a long time, so I apologize if there was anything in the background. I'm actually over at Pioneer right now, so this is the first somewhat close I've been to one of these meetings. Any questions, concerns that you're seeing in your neighborhood or along the river trail or anything that that's right now?
Go ahead. I think there was just some background noise.
All right. First off, 1700 South is still looking good. We haven't had any of the campers or trailers come back onto that piece for more than 48 hours, which has been fantastic. I think that area is actually turning out really nice with the construction they're doing there right now. We are still doing abatements, trying to get people into the shelters as quick as we can through those abatements. Just to go over a few of the numbers that we're seeing in District 2, and let me get to the right district here. Year to date, so I know we've only got 16 days in this year to date, but we're seeing a significant decrease in violent crimes compared to last year. And again, it's only 16 days, 19 days into it, but we're down 33%, which is great for violent crime. For total crime, we're actually down 26.2 compared to this time last year. So if we can continue this pace, which would be really nice, we might see a significant increase or decrease in any crimes in District 2. Now, the end of the year, and I tried to pull up our stats for the end of last year so we could get a whole glimpse of 2021 for District 2, and some reason it wasn't pulling up. And we usually do an annual review of all of our calls each year. So as soon as I get that, I'll present that at the next meeting. But if there aren't any questions or concerns, I'm going to make it nice and sweet for you to do your elections tonight.
Thank you, Detective. I have two questions. One was just put on the Facebook chat by Sarah, and she just wanted to know if what can be done to address street drag racing, and she specifically mentioned 800 West. I'm wondering if we could get a speed trap or something there. We are working on some other traffic calming measures, but those are going to take a long time.
Yeah, so our real big issue with street racing is out in the industrial area. We sometimes get 300 cars plus out into those street races, but we haven't had those for quite a while, just due to some of the things that we've been doing out there. So if there is an issue on 800 West, please either send me a text, send me an email, and I can try and use some of the things that we've done out there to tap down on this issue on 800 West. And I'll leave, I think I can leave my email and my phone number in the chat. See if I'll be able to leave all that in the chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call or text.
And I'll transfer your contact information over to Facebook for those that are watching there.
Okay. And was there one more question?
Yeah, just curious about drive-by shootings. I've gotten a few emails about them in the last couple of weeks and wondering if there's been an increase or kind of where things are at.
And I haven't seen necessarily an increase, but a consistency. There has been some gang issues. We saw a homicide a couple homicides down at the Hunter High area that may very well be a gang issue as well. So we just got a new gang sergeant who's going to be heading up that task force, and he's getting into the swing of it really quick. So I'll probably get a briefing from him, or I'll ask for a briefing from him to see what we're actually looking at, if it's increasing or if it's staying consistently steady.
Thank you.
And Turner, I just wanted to if you do hear those, if you hear something that you feel are gunshots, I'm just going to emphasize, please call it in. The more people we get to call in, the quicker we can triangulate and find out where those shots are occurring. Just don't assume that your neighbor is going to call it in. So please just call in with the location that you're hearing it from. That will really help us a ton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Detective Oliver?
Turner, I don't know if this would be a question for Detective Oliver. I appreciate all the work that he's doing and his team. 1700 South looks a lot better. We do have a concern though, as the abatements are taking place, I'm noticing a lot of trash left behind, and I don't expect the police department to come and clean that up, but I do want to look into who needs to come and clean it up. For example, 1700 South under the I-15 overpass, there was a large encampment there for a couple months, and then they left and all the garbage is still there waiting to be cleaned up.
Levi, that is something we can organize through the council. Okay. And if it's bad enough, like furniture, that type of thing, we need to coordinate with the city. Okay. But for smaller things, our Keep Glendale Beautiful committee, we can get some cleanups planned. So I've made a note about that. And then, but I don't know if Detective Oliver has other resources he can mention.
And I can talk about that too, but I think I see Dennis raising his hand, so he might want to say.
Thanks, Ollie. I can certainly take care of that stuff, report it. Your best bet is to report it on the SLC mobile app, and we can take care of it right away. I did see that stash this afternoon, and have reported that. So hopefully that'll get cleaned up tomorrow or the next day. So yeah, we'll get those. Definitely keep me posted. Otherwise, Levi, you've got my contact info too. Let me know anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I reported on the mobile app a couple weeks ago, but they must just be overwhelmed with requests. But good to know that you reported as well, Dennis. Thanks.
You bet.
Thank you. Any other questions for Detective Oliver? All right. Thank you, Detective. We can move on. Next, we can just go with Councilmember Pui.
Hello, some quick updates of things that I've been working on. Quite a bit of changes with COVID. Unfortunately, we had basically one meeting since I've been there, the day after the swearing in that Tuesday, and then I moved back again to having online meetings, which kind of sucked a little bit, but you know, we have to do what we have to do to stay safe. Let me tell you a few things I've been working on. I already got buy-in from everybody in the council to move council meetings to the west side. We still need to work through how we're going to do that. The technology is there. Everybody wants to do it now. We just need to make sure that we need to figure out how to do it right. And obviously there is that layer of COVID over this. And the rationale behind this is first, to get government closer to the people here on the west side. Second is to get the administration sometimes also to cross I-15 and to come to the west side. So we're going to be releasing some process on that. So that is actually very interesting. There's also, you probably all read about trains. You know, it's been in the news about the large project, the box train, which puts the train underground. It is a big project that's very expensive. There's going to be a lot of conversations about this in the future. This is bigger than Salt Lake City, bigger than the county, and probably even bigger than the state. There is other project I've been pursuing. Actually had quite a bit of interest in this week. I met with Union Pacific, and for those that know, Union Pacific has the tendency to basically say, we've been here before everybody, we do whatever we want to, because they do have the authority to do whatever they want to. But they haven't shut down this idea, which is using a different line that goes west, right below raging waters. That line is active. It is not very active, but it will take all the trains from downtown. It's still a long ways away. There's a lot of things that could happen. It may not even be feasible, but you know, people are talking about it. It will be very interesting if this were to happen. As far as updates from the city planning commission, needs a west side representative. We still don't have one, so I will, last time I checked a few days ago, there wasn't anybody from the planning commission that represents District 2. I will encourage, those that want to participate in the planning commission to apply. If you need help on how to get that information, email me or text me. Redistricting Commission, Turner, you mentioned that. We do this once every 10 years. You get the chance to play with the boundaries and draw the lines. The council then will adopt the maps. The District 2 is the only one that lost population, significant amount of population according to the census. We all have questions about how that go, but so District 2 will grow in size. So, you get the chance to decide how we grow and what, where to grow. So I would encourage one of you to apply for this. It would be nice to have a voice from the west side. CIP, I've been seeing a lot of, and this is homework I need to do. We've been getting people applying for some boards and commissions. And every time I read through the resumes and the applications, none of them are from District 2 or District 1. It's always kind of sad to see that. So I would encourage all of you, if you have a minute, some of those boards and commissions don't require a lot of time, but it means a lot to have your voice in our city government. And if you have questions about what those boards are, I've been involved in a few of them over the years. I'm sure Dennis and other people here have been longer than me, can give you some advice, and I'm volunteering Dennis. I know that's unfair. There is a few things, and we talked about street racing. I've been in contact with Janie Iwamoto. Senator Janie Iwamoto is running a bill. I'm going to testify on that bill on the first day that they launch it. It's Senate Bill 53, which is street racing. It's basically is for street racing. It's inspired on things that are happening here on the west side. And she already has a Republican co-sponsor to the bill. The bill has already very encouraging feelings from Republicans, and as we know, the legislature, there's a lot of Republicans in there. So if they are feeling okay with the bill, it's possible that it might go forward. It might need your contacting your representatives and outside your legislators too. Our legislators here will probably support it. I cannot speak for them, but this is a big issue on the west side. It will enhance the penalties for street racing. It will enhance the penalties for watching racing events, those informal racing events that are happening on the west side. And there's a few things that are very interesting on the bill. I will encourage you to read it, Senate Bill 53. And we started a campaign on vaccinations and mask wearing here for the west side with Victoria. We're going to be launching some posters and some other materials to be delivered to businesses and all, in our community. I will send some more information when we have those, hopefully in the next week or so. As we know, COVID affects our communities the most, communities, especially on the west side. So we want to try to curb that and for encouraging vaccination and encouraging mask wearing. So anything I can do to help, any ideas you have, we're going to be releasing some videos every day from different community members telling their people, their communities and their friends to get vaccinated. They will be shared by the city mayor's Facebook page and the city council Facebook page. So hopefully, it gets some traction. And I'm working on a few traffic calming processes with the mayor. It's very encouraging. The mayor is very interested on this. And yesterday I was elected RDA vice chair, which the whole purpose of that for me was to inject some energy on the 9-line RDA district and the North Temple RDA districts that are not as active as other ones. I had some conversations already with the chair. We're very excited about pushing most of the energy of the RDA to the west side. So that's my update, and anybody has questions, I hope I can help out answering them. If I don't know how to answer them, I will find out the answer for you.
Thank you. Any questions? You can just dive in. Go ahead and unmute. Doesn't look like it. All right, it doesn't look like there's questions, but before I move on, just want to make sure that's true. All right, well, I'm going to move on to the business that we have tonight. I'm going to do a little bit of explanation about what we're electing or what we're doing tonight and why we're following the process that we are. This is the first time that our community council has had to have an election online. And so we have been trying to figure out a process that is fair and transparent. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over Josh from the mayor's office. Josh, you go ahead and then I'll go into the election. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks, Turner. Good evening, everyone. My name is Josh from the mayor's office. I don't have too much tonight. I have a very short update, so you move on with the election, and I will leave my contact information in the chat after I'm done to, if you need to reach out to me with any questions or comments or follow up on anything, just feel free to reach out to me. As the council member mentioned, yeah, we have a lot of vacancies on various boards and commissions for District 2 residents. As he mentioned, the Planning Commission, which Turner shared a link to, the application for that, and on the same site, the different boards that have vacancies include the Planning Commission, Historic Landmarks Commission, and the Art Design Commission, which helps select artists for public art projects. So depending on your interest, there's lots of different ways to get involved in the city, and most of those applications do get processed through the mayor's office. And so if you apply and are looking for any update or have applied, just feel free to reach out to me, and I can see where your application is and make sure that it's being looked at and moving along. Also, the mayor will be giving her State of the City address annual speech on Tuesday next week, Tuesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. And that will be live streamed. It's not an in-person event. It will be live streamed on the Salt Lake City government Facebook page and on the YouTube page for Salt Lake City. And then that, of course, will be available to view afterwards. And the speech, text of it will be online on the city website within a day or two after that. Just want to make everyone aware of that. In addition to that, I also wanted to share a link from our Public Lands Division, Public Lands Department regarding the Glendale Regional Park, replacing the old water park, and the planning process for that. There's an overview of the process and plans for outreach and input, and you can also sign up to receive email updates about the project and as it goes along. And so feel free to reach out to Public Lands about that and stay connected with them. That is all I have at this time. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them now, or depending on what there is, I can take it offline. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for the mayor's office? All right, it doesn't look like it. I am going to take just a 1-minute break while we figure out the election processes. I've got a few links I've got to pull up. So folks, if you'll just be patient for a moment as we get ready to conduct the election. I've also got folks that are trying to join the meeting, so I'm going to respond really quickly. Give us 1 minute and then we'll be ready to start on the election process. All right, I apologize for that. I'm going to give an overview of how the process will work. I'm going to share some background information and then we'll conduct the election. So to clarify tonight, what we are electing tonight are a chair, a vice chair, and a webmaster, and then 7 at-large board positions. So the chair's position serves for 3 years. The vice chair and webmaster serve 2-year terms, and then the at-large board members will serve 1 term. This is under the new structure that we adopted at last month's meeting when we made the bylaws changes that we did at last month's meeting. We did this for a number of reasons, mainly to just create a consistent process for having elections. Our previous bylaws were very good about establishing a structure. We just kind of added on top of them and rearranged a little bit to make things more consistent. So every year, the majority of the board will be elected. Those are those 7 at-large board members. They'll be elected in January of every year during our elections. And then the other officers of the board will be elected according to their terms. So tonight, we're electing 7 at-large board members, a webmaster, a vice chair, and then the chair. So the process that we've settled on for this, our bylaws require that 2 board members and 3 members or residents of the community participate in the balloting process. And that's for when we have our in-person ballots, because we normally do a paper ballot, everybody submits them, we fill them out, and then the 2 board members and 3 residents participate in that process. Because we're doing this online, the process that we've selected, in order to be elected to the board, you have to be nominated. And so in anticipation of this meeting, the board and myself have been doing outreach to a variety of neighbors, really trying to get a lot of folks to run for our board tonight. If you're interested, you can be nominated tonight, but we do require nominations. And so the first form that I'm going to share is for nominations. And I'm going to just read the names of folks that have been nominated. The conversations that we had before the meeting, some of our board members went in and filled in nominations for folks that agreed to run for the board. But if you are interested in running for the board, you absolutely can do that tonight. What you'll do, we'll just ask people to nominate themselves. So if you'll go to the link there, if you're interested in running, please go to the link that I just shared in the chat and nominate yourself. I am going to note that Scott Horton, Paulo Aguilera, JC Miller, Stephanie Finley, Levi De Oliveira, Emily Jordow, Sarah Wolfe, Stephen Kopanic, and myself have been nominated for different positions. So if I just read your name, you don't have to go in and fill out the form. That's already happened. But if you're interested in running and you weren't on that list, please go in and fill out the form. Because once nominations are completed, and we're going to close nominations at 8 o'clock. So we're giving folks the next 20 minutes. If you're interested in running, please go in and fill out the nomination form. And then after 8 o'clock is when we'll conduct the election. And the election is going to happen on a different form that I'm going to share. And I'm not going to share it right now because we haven't gotten all the nominations, but basically it's a simple form that you'll go in and we'll have everybody who's watching fill it out, cast your vote, and then that will be how the election is done. The results will be immediate. We'll be able to display them on the screen and we'll go from there. So questions from folks real quick. I know I went over a lot.
I tried opening on my end and I think I needed access. So I don't know if anyone else needs access to the Google.
Which one?
The first one.
The nomination form?
The nomination form.
Yeah, share link instead of a.
Let me see. Would you mind trying that link that I just shared, the last one?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I think since I'm an editor, I have to share a different link. Apologies for that. Let me fix this. And Landon asked a question online asking for Josh's contact information. Landon, I will get that to you as soon as we complete the election, just so I don't get sidetracked. With that, to kick off the process, what we're going to do is we'll start with at-large board members, folks that have signed up or been nominated to run for the board. If you just want to take a minute and a half to introduce yourself, just kind of talk about your interests, how long you've lived in Glendale, basic information. We'll give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. If you'd complete the nomination form, if you're interested, we'll add you to the end of the list, and then we'll just kind of work through in order. I'm going to call on folks for this initial part just to keep things moving smoothly. But if you want to nominate, please fill out the nomination form, and then we can conduct the election afterward. The first person on my list is Scott Horton. Scott, are you on the call? It doesn't look like it. Our bylaws do require that you be present to be nominated. So if you would like to join the Zoom call, I just shared it for the folks on Facebook. The next person on my list is Paulo. And Paulo, you've been nominated for vice chair, so I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Paulo. I'm a resident of Glendale for, I'd say now like 7 months. And when I first joined, I don't know, Turner, give me a timeline here. I don't know how long or short you want me to go here.
Just take a minute or so.
Okay. But since then, I've been invited to be an at-large member for the council here, and I've been sort of spearheading a project, the Friends of Glendale Parks project with an intern we hired. Jake Link from the University of Utah, kind of taking an inventory of all parks in Glendale and kind of like moving that forward along to understand all the assets we have here in Glendale as far as parks go. So to kind of continue that effort after the internship is over for Jake, I think helping Turner with his chair position would be great. So really interested in helping out the community however it can. And yeah, excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. I noticed that Scott just joined. So Scott, if you just want to give a quick introduction, just introduce yourself and talk about why you're interested in running for the board.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was on Facebook, so I didn't know how to get any sound or anything there. But
no problem.
So my name is Scott Horton. I have lived in Glendale for 15 years now, born and raised in Salt Lake. I've met a few people from the board, but I just kind of want to get more involved in the community and help out where I can.
The next person on my list is JC.
Hi, everyone. My name is JC. I grew up in Utah. I'm new to Glendale. I've only lived here for just a few months, but I have always had an interest in public service. And I went to school for political science, so I'm kind of minded that way. And I work for Utah Community Action, which is headquartered in Glendale. So I live and work in Glendale. I'm a coordinator with their food pantries. So I'm interested in being a part of the work that's being done with the Glendale Community Council. So.
Oh, thanks, JC. The next person on my list is Stephanie Finley.
Thanks, Turner. I'm Stephanie Finley. I've lived in Glendale for about a year, and before that I was in Rose Park. So 3-year West Sider, 10-year Salt Laker, and love it. And really, I'm passionate about my neighbors and connecting with my neighbors and connecting my neighbors with one another. March 2020, when we were reeling from the pandemic and had that earthquake, just the week after everything was shut down, I found myself way more connected to my neighbors than I ever had been in the past, and found it was such an important aspect of community in that time, and really made me passionate about my neighborhood. So I want to get more involved, and glad to be here. And I think that's it for now.
Thanks, Stephanie. The next person on my list is Levi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Levi. I've been in Glendale since 2007. When we bought our house here by the abandoned water park. It wasn't abandoned then when we bought the house. Spent a lot of time there with my wife and children. I was born and raised in Brazil. I graduated from Highland High School. I attended the University of Utah and majored in finance, and then got a master's in information systems. My background's in fintech. Ever since we had the issues with the homeless camps popping up on 1700 South, I decided to get involved with the city. And that's why I started attending meetings and hoping to make my little piece of Glendale a little bit better for my wife, my children, and my neighbors.
Thanks, Levi.
Mm-hmm.
The next person on my list is Emily. I think we might have multiple. Emily Jordow.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily. I am also born and raised in Brazil. What an amazing surprise to hear that from Levi. I have lived in Glendale for over a year and a half now in the Wasatch Commons co-housing community. I'm a transportation planner with background in landscape architecture as well as environmental planning. A lot of the work that I do it concerns the West Side and equity and involving all the populations that, make our neighborhood so great. So I'm excited to join the council so we can, just get everyone involved and get some really great stuff done.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.
The next person is Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah Wolfe. I live here in Glendale. Been here for about 2 years and in Salt Lake for about 3. Been all over the place before that, but I work with a trails organization called Trails Utah, and we build and maintain trails all over the state. I also refurbish furniture. I worked for a very long time in the arts, and I'm passionate about the arts. So I started the Glendale Community Council Arts Committee. Since we've gotten our 501c3 status, I've been working with Turner a lot on getting funding for several different art projects. Some in the works, some waiting on funding before we start planning process. But I'm really invested in bringing more of the arts here, whether it's visual arts, interactive, performing, etc. And I've pulled a few people together in the neighborhood to help me in that endeavor, although I'm always looking for more because everybody's time is limited. So if you know anybody who's interested in the arts and wants to help out on the committee, please let me know or let Turner know. Thanks.
Thanks. And Sarah, when we're done with the election, I'm going to have different committee folks give updates if you are able to stay.
Okay.
Thanks. The next person on the nominations list is Stephen.
Hi, my name is Stephen Kopanek. I'm a lifelong Utahn, born and raised. Lived in West Jordan, moved out to Glendale 2 years ago. It's going to be my third year here. Knew about Glendale, didn't know a whole lot about it, moved out here, fell in love with it, and I decided that this is something that I want to help build. I want to make my time available to help this community be everything that I can help build. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to do a final call for nominations. We'll close them at 8 o'clock and conduct the election afterward. This is a little awkward because I don't know really how to handle this part, but I was also nominated for chair, and I'm the last person on the nomination list. My name is Turner Bitton. For those of you that don't know me, I have been the chair here in Glendale for 2 years now. And in that time, really gotten to know our neighborhood and how diverse it is and how many different people live here from all over the world, and have considered this one of the best opportunities that I've ever had. And I've just really, really appreciated being involved over the last couple of years. Yeah, I don't know much else to say. Are there folks on the call who are interested, maybe a little concerned about time commitments or have questions? I think we can answer some of those questions if folks have them. I'll check the Facebook as well.
I feel like I could just comment and say that I've been on the board for about a year now. And I would just say that Turner and other members of the board have just made it really easy to be involved. And so, you know, if there's anybody who's thinking about it and feeling a little hesitant or unsure, just want you to know that it's been very welcoming and that there's a lot of opportunity to, you know, contribute and, you know, start little projects that you're interested in, or, you know, participate in some ongoing things. So thanks to everyone who's already nominated themselves or, you know, stepped up to the election. And yeah, just want to voice that it's a fun opportunity.
Thanks, Taylor. Anyone else have comments? All right, I think what we'll do, unless there is an objection, I think what we'll do is move to close nominations, and then we can conduct the election. It looks like right now we currently don't have a nominee for webmaster. So in the case that there is not someone nominated or someone doesn't volunteer, what we'll do tonight is just declare that that seat didn't have a candidate and declare it empty. And then between now and our next meeting in February, we will get to work trying to find someone who might fill that position. As of right now, we have 7 nominees for at-large board members, 1 nominee for vice chair and 1 nominee for chair. We will still conduct the election. We'll still have people go through, complete the link. But as of right now, we would fill every position and there's no competition. So we would essentially be electing by acclamation. We're still going to do the ballot. But before we move forward with that, any questions, comments, any questions for folks that spoke? Any questions about the process?
Anybody try to do a nomination and not have? I was just looking and I didn't see any ads either, but just wanted to check.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and close nominations. Taylor has been working on the ballot on the back end, and I'll let Taylor post the link to that in the chat. And then I will post that on the Facebook so that folks have access to that. And then we will give folks, I'm going to say 3 minutes, 5 minutes. We'll go right till 8 o'clock. I'm just going to turn my camera off. We'll kind of hang out for 5 minutes as folks complete the ballot. And then when we come back at 8 o'clock, we'll present the results.
Okay. All right, everyone. I see the ballot into the chat. Turner, are you planning to share it on Facebook as well?
Yeah, I'll share it on Facebook right now.
Great.
All right, and we'll be right back in 4 minutes at 8 o'clock. We'll give folks a chance to complete your ballots.
Mine says you need permission.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing that as well, Turner.
Okay. I will fix that. Let's see if I am smarter than this. Okay, I believe that I have fixed that issue. You should have access now.
Post the link one more time just to.
And it's looking good on my end. Is it working for others? Okay. All right. We'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, it looks like everybody's had a chance to fill it out. There's not a lot of suspense because we don't have competitive elections, but I am going to share the poll results on the back end. So congratulations to Scott Horton, JC Miller, Stephanie Finley, Levi De Oliveira, Emily Jordan, Sarah Wolfe, and Stephen Kopelnik for being our new 7 at-large board members. Our webmaster position will be open until we find someone to fill that position. Congratulations to Paulo, who's our new vice chair. And then it looks like I will continue to be the chair for the next 3 years. So thank you all. I know that this process is a little clunky, but we've been given a lot of weirdness from COVID over the last couple of years. So I appreciate everyone sticking with us as we've conducted the election. We'll share the election results on our website as well and make sure that they're included. A link is included in with the recording. With that, we've concluded our formal business, but if the new board members wouldn't mind staying on for just a few more minutes, we'll conclude our public meeting. We'll have our new board stay on and we'll kind of talk about some logistics for moving forward. Thank you for everyone who attended the meeting tonight.
Were you going to have committee updates before we conclude the public meeting? Or
we'll do those for new board members, and then at February's meeting, we'll do new public updates on all the committees.
Got it.
Alejandro.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Turner, I wanted to congratulate the new board and invite so you guys can pick a day, to the city, to the new board members. I found